Let's start with this. What is poverty? What is poverty in the UK? What do you think it means to be living in poverty? Does this person look poor? How about this person? Does being poor mean you can't eat, or only that you can't afford luxuries? How do you define luxuries? Why is it that as a young person, you're somehow responsible for your situation? I'm Billie JD Porter. As part of Project Twist-It, we've been travelling the country, speaking to young people about their experiences and perceptions around poverty in the UK, and how we can challenge the unfair stigma around those who are struggling to make ends meet.
I think everyone's a bit oblivious to it, to be honest. I don't think people are particularly aware how serious it is.
When you're poor, you don't ever really think you're poor.
So I think poverty is definitely relative, but it's not completely about a lack of possessions.
When I think about the public opinion of poverty, I think people see it as a really negative thing. People are really quick to judge people who don't have as much money, and they're quick to blame it all on them.
I feel like if people don't really know about it, they don't really care about it.
So you don't really view yourself as being poor until you realise there's so many more people just much more privileged than you, really.
That is a big thing in this country as well, is ignorance and people not being educated about certain issues. So we focus on the whole thing on financial rather than educational poverty.
I'm in Folkestone today visiting an organisation called Imago, and they work a lot with young carers. So today I'm going to be meeting a group of young people, a variety of different ages, to talk to them about what their attitudes are around poverty in Britain today and what we can do to change that. What do you think of when someone says the word poverty? Do you all know what it means?
Not really.
No. Do you ever kind of speak about that?
No, there's never really need to for us.
No?
It's not something we talk about. We're very private people at school because my school life is very different from my home life. I don't really intermix the two.
Why do you feel the need to be so private?
I don't trust anyone.
Why?
Because I know what they're like. They take the mick out of kids like me.
It's something that you struggle with, it go around the whole school because you're not like them.
Like the kids, like especially on sort of tag days and stuff where you can go in your own clothes, if somebody says to you, you know, where did you get that from, and you say like, I don't know, like Primal or something like that, and they kind of then go around and they're like, why'd you do that? Like, well, you know, I can't always afford the most expensive things, and they go around and suddenly you have everybody saying to you, you know, this was 50 quid, do you want it, sort of thing.
With the sort of people that I hang around with, they're living in Hawkinge with getting everything they want, and they talk about poor people in sort of the bad way and then make me feel like they're friends with me because they pity me.
What do you mean they talk about poor people in a bad way? What do they say?
So they'll see someone that's not wearing branded clothes, that, you know, buys £2 trainers because it's cheaper, and they'll like laugh about it and sort of put them down because they don't have the money.
So say if someone has to come to PE and everyone's got harachis on and they've got feelers, do you think they'd be ashamed?
Yeah.
Unless you
Year 7.
What happened?
I wanted that make shoes, and that my shoes weren't like the best make, so then I went home to my mum and told my mum I wanted some more trainers. So she was going to buy me some more trainers.
What if she couldn't have afforded those new trainers?
I want to go in school.
When you got the new trainers, that was like everyone else's, did people treat you differently?
Yeah, like, I just looked out like, the lads like weren't like calling me or anything for like my trainers or looking at me like funny. Because everyone else had the same trainers as me.
Where you guys have lots more responsibility than most people your age, you might be in charge of like budgeting, doing the shop, making the food. Like, what are some of the things that you have to take into account every day?
When I cook occasionally, I have to sort of sometimes shrink the portions for everyone to sort of make it round everyone because we're quite a big family. And then it sort of changes because my parents are separated. So we sort of go to my dad's at the weekend and it's completely different. There's like massive portions of food, and sometimes it makes me feel like different from that other side of my family because they've got everything they want and I'm sat there sort of in between the two.
Me and my mum, we don't really have a lot of joy in our life at the moment, so we try and make our own games up. So like what's the cheapest thing you can find? Our favourite game to play currently is like you'll find a tin of meat soup and see how much meat it's actually got in it.
Oh, what? It's like 2%.
Yeah, like we have to like find the exciting things.
Yeah.
Like, but finding the cheapest stuff, we get it.
1 in 5 of the UK's population, that's 14 million people, are said to be living in poverty. To find out more about how poverty is officially defined, I'm meeting Dr. Hee-Jung Chung, reader in sociology at the University of Kent.
Well, the official definition of poverty is if you have less than 60% of the median wage, you're defined as poor. The median wage is if you line everybody according to their income, the person right in the middle. Mm-hmm. So obviously that's the official definition, but you have to consider that depending on where you live, what your living conditions are, what your needs are, you could be poor and materially deprived even if you have 60% of the median wage. Our definition, official definition of poverty may not really capture the full extent to which people are deprived in this country.
In form, we used to do activities and do like real life things. Like when we was like talking about benefits and how it does help some people, a lot of people are like kind of saying, well, they're stupid and like these people who don't work just need to get up and get a job, and that kind of hit me like, well, my parents aren't actually able to, sort of thing. And like my teacher knew that and he was trying to make a stop to it, but the rest of the class, they was just like, they didn't really think about it, just kind of they said what came out, sort of thing.
Yeah.
One main thing I'd like to say is that technology impacts education greatly. Technology allows education to be more widely available to everyone. If you have a smartphone, if you have a laptop, if you have a computer, if you have the internet, if you have a computer at a library, if you're able to get to that library, you are then able to learn.
It's because of technology that there aren't as many jobs around. A lot of companies now have automated phone systems, so you don't have someone on a switchboard like you used to. That was something that I thought maybe I would be able to do when I finished college, but there aren't really that many companies around that need that anymore.
You see pictures on like social media of the Christmas tree with like mounds of presents or you know, they're getting the most expensive things possible, and then you look at your own and sort of see the difference and then wonder why you're not getting the same because you're like, you know, friends with them or you're like similar to them, and it's hard, you know, because we sort of learn to cherish what we've got, whereas other people cherish what they want.
The recurring themes that kept on coming up in our sessions were young people's differing experiences at school and online. So what's happening? Nikki Varley is a youth worker at the UK's largest youth club, Wigan Youth Zone. She's also a musician, and this feeds into her work with young people.
You know, a lot of the young people that we do work with that might be living sort of below the poverty line. I don't think necessarily they do identify as that. I think there's a lot of the idea of making do with what you've got, and we've got young people at the youth zone. You know, we sometimes wash their clothes, we'll be sorting the food out because we've not got any food for the tea from the parents. So there's definitely a lot of young people that would be put in that category, but I don't think they identify as that themselves, no. So is that your perception of poverty then?
Yeah.
Yeah, and damp walls, you have to live in a flat.
Because you can't afford to buy a house.
And your house is scruffy, and your clothes need wash.
And you live in a rough area.
Rough. It's like the opposite of gated community. Like, proper posh community.
Some people think that privilege is something that people that don't have better life just made it up, but it actually does exist, and it's an issue that we need to tackle in terms of privilege them and how people don't really know about it, and they just think, you know, I am where I am because of me, because of nothing else, and I haven't been given ahead in life due to the fact that I've worked hard for it, but it's not always the case.
The issue is that when you're in a place where your family's financially poor, that affects your education and it affects your opportunities. And also, as Dominic's saying, in terms of mindset, a lot of the time, being in a financial situation, it means that you live in a certain area and that area has certain opportunities, and it's all right and well to say, you know, well, if you just believe in yourself and work hard enough, you can get out. And that is true, but your influence is dictated a lot by what you have around you. And if what you have modeled for you is a family that's been poor generation after generation and they've never achieved, then it is quite difficult for you to break out of that.
Being poor is not your fault. Being not able to get a good job that's well paid is also not your fault. And I think there's a lot of kind of this perpetuating idea that, oh no, it's you that you can't make it. And again, as you say, a lot of that actually makes people more anxious and depressed, and it actually leads to more problems. It is your right to get those benefits. It is your right to, as a citizen, to have a decent life.
Even if you're in even a ghettoized area or an area that is has a stigma for being of a certain class or economic background, the idea that it's more than just that, it restricts your mind and it restricts your movement.
We met Kieran Cranston at one of our discussion workshops in London. He wanted to share a few further ideas he'd had since.
How do you think that we can improve the perception then of people who are coming from a background that might be dealing with financial struggles?
I would say definitely interaction, community cohesion. So even if in schools, for example, they were to teach more the idea of home economics, so whether that's learning about money and budgeting, or even having sessions where you go out into the community and you meet people, or you get more involved with your local government and you start to get an understanding of how the system works and how you manage to benefit from the system, but also an idea of how others might not have the same privilege or the same experience.
No two people's experiences of poverty will be exactly the same, but the takeaways from our sessions always revolved around the need to promote understanding. How can young people be more accepting of those living in poverty if there's no basic awareness of the problems at hand and how common they are?
If we talk to more people about it, like not necessarily what we're going through, but like how it feels and that, it can maybe help them understand.
It just shows that, you know, when we do take a bit of responsibility for our own communities and giving back, then it can help people.
So let's end with this. Ask yourself again, what is poverty? What is poverty in the UK? And what does it mean to be living in poverty? Can we change the narrative around poverty?
Life, give me something to believe in. No lies, just something to believe in. Am I the only one that's grieving these things that belong to you and me, that they are thieving? This whole world's got me hurting, got me feeling undeserving, got me questioning my worth in this sad system that we're serving. Find no place in this twisted race for property. Is making profit the sole aim of humanity. Protect the banks, bring out the tanks if they disagree. While we're at it, let's invest some more in military. All our friends have shares, so why shouldn't we? Now the markets are demanding that we give away for free everything our grandparents fought for to some company. It's called wealth creation. Yeah, it's more efficient, you see. I'm sorry, I forgot the free market was set.